You may be shocked to hear that the way that you've been eating for your whole life, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, has been completely wrong. That has resulted in the body that you have today that you're not happy with, the energy that you're not happy with, and that there's a new and better way that's been observed for thousands of years in yoga and Ayurveda. Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. Today is part 2 in the Yogi and Ayurveda food, digestion, detox series. Today we're going to talk about the worst habits in terms of eating to prevent stress and disease, and also so that we can have energy so we can progress spiritually as fast as possible and just be as whole people as we can. So most people think that they're doing good if they just focus on what they eat. But in yoga and Ayurveda, we focus on everything: the who, the what, the where, the when, the why, the how, and the with what, the context of what you're eating your food with. We focus on all these things, and you'll find that when you focus on all these things, it'll bring much more ease and energy to your system. You see, most people don't have a guiding system that governs how they eat. And so it ends up in disaster because it's left to chance and not according to how the human system is divided. As you start to implement these 14 different food eating habits, you'll definitely find your digestion much stronger, your body lighter, and the overall sense of well-being, because your system is going to assimilate food in a stronger, easier way, so you won't be creating the amatoxins. A note is that as you're implementing these, go slowly and do one at a time. Don't feel like you have to do them all at the same time. Don't feel overwhelmed. This should be an exciting experimental process where you get to put the Ayurvedic tips to the test in your own body, and you get to see how much stronger and energized you feel because of it. So here's my list of the top 14 worst habits that are hurting your digestion, in order from least harmful to most harmful. Drinking too much water before, during, or after your meal is bad for digestion because it dilutes the stomach acid. And when you dilute the stomach acid, it means that the food is going to either enter the intestines undigested, or the sphincter that connects your stomach to your throat isn't going to sense that it should be closed. And so the acid will splurt up into your esophagus. This is what they call GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease, and that causes heartburn. We need the stomach acid to digest our food, so we don't want to dilute it with water. It doesn't make any sense. So you don't want to be drinking more than half a cup of water for 15 minutes before or after. Now, Vasant Lad in Ayurveda does recommend to sip warm water with your meal, because this lubricates and moisturizes the food and acts like nectar. So that is one thing, but other than that, get your water and thirst needs done with more than 30 minutes before or wait 30 minutes after. Number 13 is eating cold foods or drinking cold drinks. I'm sorry to say this because I was a big smoothie fan before I heard this in yoga. But this is said because cold water does 4 things. Number 1, it contracts your colon and causes constipation because the food hardens. When you drink warm or eat warm food, everything relaxes, but the opposite happens with cold. It hardens the fats, so it's harder to break down the fats. Your body has to focus on warming up the water in the food rather than digestion. Lastly, it contracts the blood vessels to all of your organs for digestion, and that causes digestion to be slowed down. Number 12 is eating while you're standing instead of sitting. Now, studies have shown that people who eat standing have less awareness and mindfulness of the food that they're eating. So this means if you eat while you're standing, you have less perception of what's good for you, what's bad for you, and how much to eat. What's more is that when you eat standing, it creates bloating and gas. You eat faster, and so the nutrients are absorbed worse because the food isn't broken down as well. Number 11 is eating when you're emotionally distraught, not in a good mood, not happy, or in a rush. Now, the reason you want to have good emotions when you're eating is so that your blood supply to your gut is enough, which means you're not in fight or flight mode, you're in rest and digest mode. Negative emotions put you into fight or flight mode and send all the blood nutrients to your muscles, your lungs, and your heart, increasing blood pressure and cholesterol and stress hormones. You have adrenaline running through your system. So your body is not in the mode to eat and digest. Because if you eat in that state, the food is going to create more toxins in your body, which is going to stress you out more. Number 10 is not eating with the seasons and not eating local food. This is important because based on your environment, the ground is producing a certain type of nutrient based on the surroundings. Now, we have to remember that our body is just part of the environment. And based on our surroundings, the stressors are different. And so we require different food based on where we are according to the seasons. If we're constantly eating food shipped from another place, grown at another time, not only is it old, but it's not location specific to what our body needs based on the influences of our environment. Start eating what's grown in your local area by going to the marketplace and seeing what's priced for the least. Because most likely, that's going to be what was recently grown, that didn't have to be shipped. That's why it's not as much money. Do a Google search and just see what's local in my area and what grows in the summer or whatever month that you're in. You'll find your system is just strong and vibrant. Give this a shot. Number 9, not knowing the ingredients that you're eating. You never look at the labels, and you only look at the outside packaging where it says natural or no trans fat, no sugar, none of which means that all the ingredients are good. A lot of this has to do with not knowing what to look for. When you look at the back of the package, the first thing to look for is a short list of ingredients. It should be less than 5 or 6, unless if they're all natural ingredients. Second thing is looking for any chemicals. You'll know because you won't be able to pronounce them. And number 3 is looking for added oils or sugars, even if it's termed corn sugar, cane syrup, sunflower oil, cottonseed oil. You want to have foods that don't have any of that. If you want to have a really bad night's sleep and have really poor digestion that creates toxins in your body, make sure you just eat a meal right before bed. Number 8 is eating before bed. This is horrible because when you have food in your stomach and you go to sleep, not only is gravity pulling that food in your stomach and putting pressure on the other organs, your body's working overtime to try and digest that meal, taking away from the depth of your sleep, and it's doing a bad job at digestion because it's trying to do so many other things while you're sleeping. So the food becomes toxic, your sleep gets disturbed, and you wake up with a horrible smell in your mouth, a taste or feeling in your throat, and a layer of toxins on your tongue. So make sure to wait at least 3 hours after eating a meal, at least 2 hours after eating a snack, and at least an hour after having a drink. Number 7 is incompatible food combinations. Now the best way to know this is to, number 1, look at the charts here and see which foods are recommended not to eat together. Examples are fruits with any kind of other food, dairy with fruit. Really, you have to test this out for yourself. If you pay attention to the foods that you're eating, your body will tell you which foods don't go with each other. The reason is, different foods require different enzymes, and some of them require the same enzymes. And when you eat particular foods together, the enzymes get depleted and you don't have enough enzymes to digest both of the foods together.